I fell for Beatrice, a loving partner with a complicated family, but when I realized her family's emotional demands exceeded my capacity, I knew it was time to break free. Her mom accused me of gaslighting when I set boundaries. "You signed up for this," she said. "Can I truly walk away?" I, a 30-year-old male, have been in a relationship with my partner, a 26-year-old female non-binary individual, for 7 months, and I am on the verge of ending the relationship. They are very loving, kind, creative, and supportive. However, while we are both autistic, they have needs and require support that I do not have the capacity to provide alone, and I recently discovered that their family is actively withholding therapy and assistance. They expect me to take on all of their emotional, mental, and social needs. When I decided to withdraw from the situation, their mother immediately accused me of gaslighting and manipulating her child for sex because I did not fight harder, claiming that my intent throughout the relationship was for marriage. We met through a dating application called Hickey last year after my birthday. After nearly everyone in my life abandoned me, I shut myself off from my primary social life and focused exclusively on myself and a few close friends. I ceased going out for others and devoted most of my energy to my job. We started communicating in August, but our interactions did not become consistent until September, and we went on our first date in October. We are both autistic but occupy somewhat different areas of the spectrum. I am high functioning, I maintain a social life, work consistently, and can have a fulfilling social life. My partner, let's refer to them as Beatrice, is mid-high functioning. They graduated high school, but their parents allowed them to stay until the age of 21, require medication for their mental health, and have not been active outdoors in over 6 years. They are reclusive and are excessively online, which has become their only source of social interaction, often resulting in toxic engagements and bullying. Because of their needs, I needed to work with their family throughout our relationship. Their family comes from a wealthy background, and while I had respect for them, there were significant issues. Every other day, they begin the morning with screaming matches over money at 9 a.m. Their youngest child is low functioning, and they do very little to foster empathy and structure. He throws temper tantrums, and they almost cave in to his demands. My partner broke their tibia over Christmas, and it took their parents nearly 3 weeks to take them to a doctor to get a cast. Throughout the relationship, I have felt constant pressure from them to relocate from my home in New York to New Jersey and to quit my job, either to work at their company or directly for them. While the financial offer has been difficult to ignore, I enjoy my job and have worked hard to gain a promotion, as well as having work that provides flexibility for my personal life. Whenever I visit Beatrice, her parents interrogate me about the necessity of obtaining a driver's license, saying that it is a requirement for moving in with Beatrice in an apartment under their name, as I must always be available to drive them to appointments and wherever else they want to go. Beatrice has admittedly not improved the situation. Due to their lack of a social life, they often depend on me to fulfill all of their social and sexual needs. I would communicate with them every day multiple times. However, they often get so lonely that they bombard my phone with upwards of 30 messages while I am at work with friends or engaging in my hobbies. We have discussed this issue previously, and they promise to respect my boundaries, but they tend to revert back after a few weeks. Although it can be frustrating, it is symptomatic of a larger problem. Beatrice lacks a social life and the support needed to develop one. They have not had a social life since graduating high school in 2019, have not had therapy in years, and the doctor who treated their tibia acknowledged that a secondary cause for the injury was inadequate bone density, resulting from being chronically on the computer and using their phone for years. My lack of support has led me to attempt to teach them on my own, but there is only so much I can do as one person who also has my own mental health challenges while trying to maintain my personal life. Everything came to a head recently. Beatrice bombarded my phone numerous times over the past week because they missed me, even though I talked to them every day, and the last time we spent time together was nearly a week at my place about 3 weeks ago. I was supposed to spend that weekend with them and their family, but on the morning of our planned time together, they messaged me close to 30 times within an hour. I had multiple tasks I needed to accomplish before coming over, and I could no longer remain patient. I informed Beatrice that I was canceling our weekend plans because I needed space to breathe and requested that they not contact me until Monday. They were upset for crossing my boundaries and agreed, but then their mother intervened. Their mother told me that it was she who had instructed Beatrice to reach out to me to find out when I was coming. After I explained the excessive communication, their mother conceded that it was slightly insensitive, but my cancellation of the weekend was viewed as a punishment. I insisted that a boundary is not a punishment and that I was not rewarding that behavior. I was then told that her daughter is not a child despite how much this family has infantilized them and discouraged any development toward Beatrice gaining independence. I stood my ground and stated that I was not coming over. I received a follow-up call from their mother yesterday requesting that I resolve the situation. Beatrice has written numerous letters throughout their home apologizing to me for violating my boundaries and insists that I need to end the punishment. I reiterated that a boundary is not a punishment and that I fully intended to speak with Beatrice after Monday to explain myself, but that I needed my space first. Their mother's response was that while I may not perceive it as a punishment, they do, and that their feelings take precedence over my annoyance. This devolved into an explanation that this is symptomatic of a far larger issue, that Beatrice does not have a life outside of me, and I cannot support this unilaterally. I asked about the day program and therapy they were supposed to begin before their ankle fracture, and I discovered that their mother had no intentions of following through with that. Her mother expected me to do the work of enhancing Beatrice's social skills in life, if any existed to be had. I was told, "You are both autistic, but you were not raised with an understanding of having a disability. This is who she is and you must simply accept that." I provided different examples of Beatrice surmounting their lack of skills or understanding, and that she could lead a relatively normal life if the family truly followed through with the extensive support they need. Her mother once again dismissed my input, asserting that Beatrice only achieved those accomplishments because of me and that they cannot do it alone. Her mother insisted that this is the role I volunteered for and that it was my responsibility. I told her I had reached my limit, that this was beyond my capabilities and not what I was informed of at the start of the relationship. I was promised that Beatrice would receive therapy and support, not that I would have to be wholly available as their entire universe. As soon as I mentioned this, I was accused of exploiting her and lying about my intentions to marry her. I countered that I had not lied to her, but I could not undertake this without support from the family, and I hung up the phone. I am utterly devastated. I met someone I genuinely grew to love, but their needs have become overwhelming for me to manage. Their family merely wants to offload their child onto me so that they do not have to exert any effort on their part. My partner is neither a leech nor a parasite. Most issues they face are not their fault. Beatrice desires to lead a semi-normal life with friends, a partner who loves them, and to be appreciated for who they are. Their family is unwilling to do anything to promote their independence, only wanting to perpetuate a state of limbo where Beatrice does not feel like an adult while throwing money at materialistic needs. That is not living a meaningful life, and I know my partner is capable of much more than that with adequate support. I just cannot do it alone. I am still trying to determine what to say when I break up with them tomorrow. My friends are advising me to tell Beatrice the truth, but that is only likely to create more family drama. There is also the possibility that Beatrice might not believe me or that their mother will manipulate them into disbelieving me. I know I have to say something, but I am unsure how to approach it. Honestly, I would prefer to leave a voice message, but everyone insists that having been together for 7 months, Beatrice deserves to know the truth, even if they will not believe it. I am simply saddened and disappointed by both the situation and Beatrice's family. In summary, I need to break up with my partner because their family is withholding essential support and assistance for their autism and mental health issues. I alone do not have the capacity to provide what they need, and it exceeds what I can offer. How do I proceed with this breakup? Story 2. My girlfriend of 1.5 years did a complete 180 overnight. We're not compatible on day-to-day tendencies, and I want 2 weeks of no contact. Within a day, she erased our trip memories and broke up over text. What triggered this shocking change? I, 25 male, and my girlfriend, 23, nearly 24 female, have been dating for almost 1.5 years. We were somewhat of an unlikely couple initially because we had some differences, particularly regarding religion and family dynamics. She's a progressive Christian with some potential doubts, while I am an empathetic agnostic towards her beliefs. She's the oldest child in a closely located family, whereas I am the youngest in a family that is quite spread out. Despite our differences, we decided after a month of dating in graduate school to give a long-distance relationship a try, which involves approximately 3 hours of driving each way. Although we experienced some growing pains, as this was each of our first serious relationships, it went as well as I had imagined. She has clinical anxiety, so there were moments when she experienced panic about her family, our relationship, her dog, and so on. However, she also mentioned that her anxiety was least noticeable when we were together. We would alternate weekends visiting each other, occasionally spend one weekend apart, and go on significant trips, including visits to national parks with my family and trips abroad as a couple. After 3 to 4 months, we confessed our love for one another and quickly became each other's best friends. We shared numerous common interests, which made spending time together enjoyable. We texted throughout the workday and had very similar visions for our futures. It was what one might hope for: sending memes, enjoying the same movies, being nerdy together, cuddling, and being playful, as well as hiking and walking her dog together. It wasn't perfect. One point of tension was that her mother was not particularly fond of me and did not attempt to hide it. This in turn made me less enthusiastic about spending time with her parents, which was something we did every 2 to 3 weeks. However, we both agreed that the distance and any friction were entirely worth overcoming, and that her mother's impression of me was entirely unreasonable, as I had always been polite in our interactions. To facilitate our communication, I created a shared calendar to plan which weekends we would spend where and when we would be out of town. About 8 months into our relationship, we began discussing ways to move to the same city. We agreed it would be much easier for me to relocate to her city. Given my job's flexibility, I will return to that point shortly. More recently, things had been improving in the best possible way. We took a significant, well-planned trip to Europe, and it exceeded both of our expectations. It was a dream trip, and the days leading up to it, as well as the days afterward, were wonderful. Prior to leaving, I received approval to relocate later this year, which meant we had plans to move in together around the 2-year mark of our relationship. After returning from the trip, all we could think about was planning for our shared life together, coordinating our cohabitation, and planning more trips, which we did. It was common for us to discuss states or other countries where we might want to relocate together or what we hoped for in a wedding. We expressed our affection for each other openly. She would often tell me that I was her favorite person, that she was grateful for me, and that she loved me. I always replied that I felt the same way and loved her too. She communicated this most recently 1 week ago, last Friday night. The next day, Saturday, day 2, she sent me numerous pictures from a family event for Easter. The day after that, Sunday, day 3, we video called each other and discussed a trip to New York City to celebrate our 2-year anniversary. The following day, Monday, day 4, we enjoyed a lively conversation about politics and celebrated each other's fitness achievements. The next day, Tuesday, day 5, we video called again and browsed Zillow for rental options. The day after that, Wednesday, day 6, we exchanged a lot of memes and videos throughout the workday. Then the following day, Thursday, day 7, she told me not to visit her city that weekend. This was a complete shock to me. We had planned an entire weekend, including confirmed events, and she informed me that morning via text. I called her and she said she had been doing a lot of thinking and that while we see eye to eye on the major aspects of life, we are not compatible in our day-to-day habits. I asked her what those habits were, and she mentioned that I do not allow her dog on my couch or bed when he is at my apartment, that my standards of cleanliness are higher than hers, and that I do not demonstrate enough enthusiasm around her family. She added that she made most of the compromises and that we should not have to compromise in an ideal relationship. I told her that I understood her perspective, but wished she had communicated these issues more clearly before this meaningful moment. I also stated that serious relationships always require compromise and that I was happy and willing to meet her expectations without any resentment, and that I already made my fair share of compromises, such as moving cities, for instance. This did not persuade her, and she went on to request 2 weeks of no contact. Keep in mind that 12 hours before this, everything indicated we were hitting our stride. She claimed that she had previously raised these issues. I replied that she had, and we had found and agreed on common ground regarding them, and she had never emphasized them as particularly significant. She seemed indifferent to my response. The strictness and formality of the phone call and subsequent texts were completely foreign. She has always approached things with compassion and empathy, so this felt like interacting with a different person. I told her that this situation sounded like her anxiety and that it was okay to feel apprehensive about significant steps in a relationship, such as moving in together, which, while exciting, can also be nerve-wracking. She insisted that it was not anxiety, but rather genuine concerns, and that she did not want these issues to arise once we moved in together later this year. I agreed to respect her request for no contact because I value her autonomy. Although I found it jarring and inconsiderate, I did not express that to her as I did not want to exacerbate what I believed to be her anxiety. The following day, yesterday, day 8, she turned off our location services such as Find My Friends and removed me from her Instagram, including 3 posts from our Europe trip that were not even a month old. Today, she ended our relationship through a 50-word text, stating that the relationship had been on my terms and that she was no longer comfortable with that. When I requested at least a phone call to finalize things, she denied my request. I have spoken to many friends and family members about this, and it has been the most shocking moment of my life. I have transitioned from being shocked to confused, and I feel deeply insulted. Even if she had serious underlying issues in our relationship, the drastic shift in her demeanor and sentiment was incredibly jarring. Furthermore, conveying this information through text without giving me the time of day is one of the most personally insulting experiences I have faced. My theory is that her anxiety caused her to have cold feet, leading her to believe that anything that could possibly go wrong would. I also think she is experiencing a bit of an identity crisis. She was often more influenced by me in our relationship than the other way around, and I wonder if she feels as though she cannot recognize herself. It is important to note that I never asked her to change, and she seemed eager to adopt some of my beliefs and habits when she requested my perspective. Lastly, I suspect there might have been some latent immaturity that I failed to recognize. Compared to me, she lacked certain life skills: cooking, cleaning, planning, and communication. To me, that was completely acceptable. I recognized our strengths and weaknesses and sought to fill each other's gaps. She also frequently talked about big aspirations but never committed to developing the habits necessary to achieve them. I wonder if she was more of a talker than a doer, and if that manifested in her commitment level. Additionally, removing her Instagram posts of me before breaking up is simply very immature. I am doing my best to maintain a positive attitude. While it is disheartening, it is clear that she was not ready for the complexities of a serious relationship, despite her assurances. What troubles me most are 1. The whiplash and stark contrast between over a year of positive and loving interactions, and a sudden moment of stern disregard for who I am as a person, and 2. The fact that she chose the harshest way to handle it. I am communicating with close friends and family members, which has been helpful, and I am working to maintain healthy habits, but I would appreciate any additional advice that you feel is necessary. I have no clarification, closure, or conversation to better understand the situation. Thank you. Story 3. I've been lying to my amazing boyfriend for months, hiding a secret Reddit account where I sought slave training while we were together. He now feels duped and questions our future. Did I sell him a lie? I'm in therapy, but can I regain his trust? This will be lengthy, and I appreciate anyone who takes the time to read it. I am cross-posting this on other Reddit pages as well, so I apologize if you have seen this somewhere else. I simply need as much advice and accountability as I can receive. I am also aware that my partner frequently reads Reddit and these pages. If you're reading this, hello. I apologize, and I am doing this out of a sense of accountability, trying to lay everything out in hopes of beginning to unravel it. Additionally, for context, we are both cisgender men and are in a same-sex relationship. My current partner and I have been in a relationship for about a year and a half. We currently live with my parents and are planning to purchase a house in the upcoming months. My partner has been incredibly amazing towards me and has treated me with love and kindness since day one. I, however, have not reciprocated that same level of care. About 5 months into our relationship, I created a different Reddit account and posted on a gay Skype Reddit page, expressing that I was interested in slave training, something I had never tried before nor disclosed to my partner. People responded, and I had a brief call with one individual. It was only when that person mentioned wanting to assault me that I stopped. At the time, I did not inform my partner about this. They recently discovered this information by finding the Reddit account I mistakenly thought I had deleted, and are understandably hurt and upset by it. Today, my partner continued to investigate and found out that I had engaged in similar behavior not only while in a relationship with them, but also when I was with my ex. I had created multiple Reddit accounts and one Snapchat account, and to be honest, I cannot specifically recall how many or their usernames or passwords. My partner is once again hurt, not only by the act itself, but also because I previously claimed that I had not done this before. They feel deceived, believing that I sold them a lie, and are now questioning whether our relationship can continue. For context, when we began dating, we both mentioned that we were predominantly tops, although we would bottom for each other. My partner had never bottomed before, and while I had done so a few times, there was only one occasion when I can say I enjoyed it, mostly due to the lack of pain. My partner bottomed first, and it was great, but I delayed bottoming for several months until it reached a point where my partner nearly left, and would have if I had not changed my approach. I have been bottoming since then, but inconsistently. Recently, I have started to genuinely enjoy it, but these past actions have taken a toll on my partner. He struggles with body image issues, believes I am out of his league, and feels that I would prefer to engage in sexual activity with someone else. The evidence I provided seems to support that fear. This has reached a point where he has difficulty maintaining an erection during sex, especially when he is topping. When I posted on Skype and sought slave training, I believed this was something I was interested in. While I do enjoy my partner being a bit more assertive, I would not wish to engage in extreme activities involving chains and whips. Yet I seem to lash out in that moment. A similar incident occurred when I was with my ex, but during that relationship, we had not been intimate for months, and I felt uncertain about what to do. Using Skype was something I had done before coming out, as it felt safer. If someone turned out to be terrible, I could simply end the conversation and block them, which shielded me from having to confront my identity. I have been out for about 3 years now, but I reverted to using Skype during stressful moments while I was with my ex. However, with my current partner, I turned to that platform during our best moments, likely as a form of self-sabotage or a belief that this could not be genuine. I do not mean to make excuses, but rather to provide some rationale. I recognize the gravity of my actions. Engaging in those behaviors and keeping them a secret is unacceptable, and I am not seeking sympathy. I am in the early stages of therapy to help understand why I resorted to those actions, but I would like to seek advice. How can I help my partner feel valued and hopefully earn their trust and forgiveness in time? I understand there is no simple or guaranteed solution, and it is possible that things are beyond repair. If you believe my partner should break up with me, I completely accept that. I am simply asking for honest advice and suggestions on how I can assist him in healing and demonstrate the positive aspects of myself. Thank you for reading all of this.